All right, so in this video, I'm going to show you guys the two biggest weaknesses I see with ChatGPT's generated copy and how you can help ChatGPT fix this. Now, the two biggest things I see, number one, ChatGPT doesn't just naturally use vivid, descriptive imagery. They don't use sensory information to trigger emotions very well. Normally, unless you get very, very specific about how you tell it to create copy, it's not going to create things that actually spark that much emotion. I'm going to show you how to fix that. The other thing that ChatGPT isn't that great at is it's not really very good at creating marketing fascinations. Unless you give it some pretty specific information, it's not going to do that good of a job. I'm going to show you how to fix both of those problems. Now, in this example, this is the generated copy that it created after some revision of a student's copy, right? But if you read this, you see there's some problems. Like you look at this first sentence, are you tired of dealing with hair loss? Don't let it hold you back from seizing life's amazing opportunities. That's kind of vague. It's not specific. It doesn't really trigger any images or movies or feelings inside of the mind of the reader. If it was a student who wrote this, I would tell them they super need to fix that first sentence. It's weak and they make it more specific. It needs to trigger emotion. So let me show you how I convinced ChatGPT to be a better copywriter here. I went in and I said, okay, ChatGPT, listen, create a day in the life of someone in the need of this hair loss transformation. Create a few short, vivid stories illustrating their frustrations with their hair loss problem. Use imagery, sounds, internal, external dialogue, and kinesthetic language. So it spit out these little 7 mini stories. Let's read this first one. The morning struggles. As the first rays of sunlight seep through the curtains, John groggily opens his eyes to face another day. He shuffles to the bathroom, and as he glances in the mirror, a sense of frustration washes over him. The diminishing hairline and sparse patches on his scalp stare back at him, a constant reminder of his struggle with hair loss. Why does it have to be this way, he wonders, sighing with disappointment. Now, this is cool. If you could have fed ChatGPT this particular information based on your market research, it probably would have included a lot of this inside of the copy. But in this case, if you tell it to be vivid and create a little story, it does. So I had to do the same thing with the dream state. So I said, hey, do the same thing, but then it's time to create stories about all the benefits he sees after the transformation. It created a bunch of those. I had to tell it to make it about a guy named Tom in his 40s because it created one about Lisa, some woman with long hair. He created these better stories. Said, good job, ChatGPT. And I said, all right, use small, vivid elements from these stories in the page. I probably should have been more specific. Probably should have said at the beginning to trigger interest and desire, or to get the reader to understand that, so they can feel the pain or whatever, right? Like I probably would have been a little more specific, but here's what it spit back out. The first sentence is still terrible. It's the same as it was before. But down here, there's a new section, Transform Your Life Forever. And it's significantly better. It says, imagine waking up in the morning with a rejuvenated spirit as you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror. A wide smile spreads across your face as you admire your lush head of hair, making you look and feel years younger. With your revitalized hairline, you stroll confidently through the city, feeling strands of hair dance gracefully in the wind as you embrace the breeze, right? Significantly better, right? Significantly more compelling. Now, I went through and I had to fix that first sentence. I said, get more specific and vivid in the beginning of the page. Instead of just saying life's amazing opportunities, and it went in and actually enhanced that and improved the copy. It says, are you tired of looking in the mirror and feeling disheartened by your thinning hair? Don't let hair loss steal your confidence and self-assurance. It's not perfect, but it's better. I would continue to go through this page and be like, all right, include an element of vivid stories about the pain state in the what sets us apart section. Now, I tell it to go and start including that piece by piece, but because I've told it to go create all these stories, I now can use that as ammunition or have ChatGPT use that vivid imagery and storytelling as ammunition to enhance the page and shore up that main weakness, which was that originally it wasn't creating very many compelling emotions inside of the mind of the reader. But once you start adding those things in, it starts to do that. Now, let's take a look at the marketing fascination side. So in this example, I was having ChatGPT create a landing or an email sequence for a landing or an ebook, right? Just playing around with ChatGPT. But I ran into a problem when it came to the curiosity. I gave it this prompt. I said, for this imaginary ebook, let's imagine that there's 3 main sections. I tried to give it some detail about what's inside the actual book. 1, what a caloric deficit is and why it's so important. 2, the main ways to create a caloric deficit. And 3, the biggest mistakes people make when trying to stay in a caloric deficit. And then I gave it this prompt. Create 10 marketing fascinations for the content inside of the book. And this is what ChatGPT spit back. Unlock the power of a caloric deficit, the key to sustainable weight loss. Lame. Shedding light on a caloric deficit, your pathway to a healthier you. It's very vague, empty marketing, BS, salesy stuff. It doesn't create any real curiosity. It's not specific. It doesn't really connect to any kind of specific descriptions of desire. Lame fascinations that don't really do anything for the reader. Now, this is ChatGPT without giving it any extra information, but let me show you how I taught ChatGPT how I learned how to communicate better with ChatGPT so that ChatGPT could actually create the types of fascinations that I want in my copy. I told it, I said, listen, a marketing fascination is a short 1 to 2 sentence blurb that combines some specific details along with elements that trigger desire. The goal is to pique curiosity and desire in the mind of the reader, Here are some examples. And I just pasted, 10 or so different examples from the How to Write Fascinations recipe book that's inside of the bootcamp. And I gave it basically these templates to copy. Now, again, this is one of the fastest ways to get ChatGPT to write really, really good, like a good copywriter, is just go find actual copy from great copywriters or high-performing brands and tell ChatGPT to model that copy. It's really good at stealing and copying from other people. I recommend that you use it, right? So I gave it these feedbacks, and then it generated 10 fascination points. And these are much better. Discover the caloric deficit blueprint. Unlock the path to lasting weight loss and your dream body. So I would probably put blueprint or deficit blueprint. I put that in quotes. That's a better fascination. The 3 secrets to creating your ideal caloric deficit: transform your life and watch the pounds melt away. It's combining the elements of desire with specific details. Significantly better. Avoiding the caloric deficit pitfall, stay on track to achieving your weight loss goals. How to achieve weight loss success. These aren't perfect, but they're significantly better. They've used those templates to enhance it. Now, if I compare these 10 fascinations with these 10 fascinations, the ones that are generated after I told it what a fascination was and gave it specific examples are way better. Now, I would continue to go through and refine that. But this is how you can get ChatGPT to start actually creating curiosity. Creating copy that's compelling, how to use it to create specific emotions out of the mind of the reader. But you can also use this to create more compelling curiosity. And these are the 2 biggest weaknesses I see in ChatGPT copy. And this is how I recommend you guys get around those weaknesses and make sure that the copy that you actually generate with ChatGPT does what it's supposed to do, and that is create an effect in the mind of the reader.